Hey guys, I'm gonna start doing things a little bit different. This video is gonna kind of be a housekeeping video of some things that you need to know as we move forward. The first thing is I do apologize if I've been a little thin on the ground the last little bit. We had a death in the family, and also our internet was on our side of town was out for a couple days. It affected the high school and everything over here. Um, Also, I've been suffering from migraine since about Thursday. So it's just kind of been a perfect storm. So my apologies if I have not been very quick on the grading or um, maybe a little delay on getting back with you this last week. A couple other things I want to talk about. Because there is so much information out there about the Gilded Age. I've done online videos for that. As we move forward, I'm actually going to switch to recording the lectures this way. It'll be a little bit closer to what you would get if you were sitting in class in one of my classes. Not quite as lecture heavy. They'll be done in 15-minute chunks, so you can watch them as you have time throughout the week. But I did have a student who I had last semester in my dual credit class who reached out and said that she did prefer the other way. And as we move toward imperialism and stuff, there are specific things I'm going to want to talk about. So you will be having videos uploaded like this. The other thing that I want to address are the document analysis worksheets. Guys, if you are spending less than 30 minutes on one of these worksheets, most likely your grades are fairly low. These things, they look really easy when you first look at them, but they are quite tedious and they are quite hard if they're done correctly. Anytime you do a document analysis worksheet, you need to read your primary source at least 3 times. And the reason for that is every time you read that primary source, and that's why I give you short primary sources, to be quite honest. Every time you read it, you should pick up a little bit something different. So we're going to go through this one. I'm going to explain it a little more in detail because there's a lot of you who are not reading your feedback that I'm giving you. When they updated Blackboard, it doesn't allow me to just type on the document anymore, which is kind of hard. I have to open up a comment box. It used to be I could strike through things and make corrections just like I would if I were grading it with a pen. But they took that option away. And so now all I can do is put comment boxes in there. So if you're feeling like I'm not leaving you any comments, make sure you're looking at those closely because there should be some little comment boxes on there that will explain why you're getting doctor points. Sometimes it's not even giving me an option to use a comment box. So I'm trying to give you some feedback in the comments section. So let's look at one of these real quick, and so I can kind of explain a little bit as to what's going on. What is this document? You are not in any way, shape, or form restricted to using one of these 4 options. If you are looking at a book, say it's a book. If you are looking at a newspaper article, say it's a newspaper article. Those are just some examples to kind of show you which way to go. Be careful about this question. It is 2 parts. Who produced it? And name and description of individual. So, for example, George Washington is head of the Continental Army. With the Jane Addams one, it should have been Jane Addams with founder of Hull House or something to that effect. So it is 2 parts. You'll only get half a point if you only put the name of the individual there. For whom was it intended? And this is one that's kind of getting some people. Don't ever look at these as it was intended for future historians to look back and see how things were in the 1900s. That is never the case. You need to look through the lens of the people at the time. And so if it is a newspaper article, it is going to be for the general public of the time period. So always look at these. A document analysis is about analyzing a primary source document. It has nothing to do with us modern. It is to give us a glimpse through a window at a specific time of what's going on. But yes, it is used for that. But at the time that it's written, it is written with a purpose. So you need to be thinking, what was the intent of this article or book or primary source? For example, if you're looking at a journal entry, keep in mind journal entries are always private. Journal entries are written for the person who is writing them. So therefore, we get so used to social media in the form of Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and all Twitter and all those things that we can look back and we can see instantly our events, our photos. Keep in mind that the early 1900s, people taking a picture is, we've got cell phones that we can instantly take pictures of ourselves, of our families. They record memories and things like that. A lot of people will have to save up for their whole life to have a family portrait painted or a picture made of them. It is a very expensive thing. It is not something that every household has as a means to record specific things that happen. So people will write journal entries so they can remember when things happen. They can remember how they felt when something specific happened. So be very careful about this question. When was the document produced? If the document has a day, month, and year in it, I expect that the day, month, and year is listed here. If you only give me the year, you're going to get half a point. So it says enter specific date if known. If all you know is the year, or you're having to guess, which we do sometimes have to guess about when something was written or when a picture was taken. So if you're having to guess there, that's fine. You can put approximately such and such year. But if it lays it out, like a newspaper article is going to lay out a specific date, including the day, month, and year, you need to put that in there or you're not getting the full points. The next one, why was this document written? It'll look at this more as like a general summary. What is this document? What was the intent of this document? For example, if you're looking at the Declaration of Independence, for example, that document was written to declare the United States independence and to announce to the globe that the United States was separating from Great Britain. So it's kind of, sometimes it's a simplification, sometimes it's a general summary of the document, but be very careful with that one and know it is significantly more points. Now this last part, because I don't see you in class every week and you're learning independently, I have to be able to assess some way what you're learning. So this last question is not a question about summarizing the document. This question is synthesizing all the information that you have learned from the week through the document. So this part can be tricky. This part is how I assess your learning and module participation. So there's a couple ways you can think about this. The first thing is you need to think, okay, what is the big picture for this week? What is the theme? So take last week, for example, your big theme was progressivism. So you need to be thinking with like last week's stuff, okay, how does this relate to progressivism? Number one, you need to tell me what progressivism is. And then two, you need to incorporate how this works with progressivism. And you can even use other examples from the week that you learned about. So a good answer for this chunk is going to be a solid 3 to 4 paragraphs. It's not something that you can rush through. If you are just running through it and it's not even going down to the end of this page, you're not telling me everything that you have learned for the week. So for example, the week coming up, we're going to be looking at imperialism. One of the ways you can do this is think, okay, what is the big key for this week? And so imperialism is going to be your overarching theme. So you can look, if you go to the back of your chapter for the week, you've got a list of key terms. look at those key terms and say, okay, which of these key terms has to do with progressivism? So you can look at the Anti-Imperialist League. You can look at dollar diplomacy. You can look at the Roosevelt Corollary, the Rough Riders. And specifically, if you're looking at the Roosevelt Corollary, that's very important because the Roosevelt Corollary is about making the United States the police for the Western Hemisphere, which Roosevelt is incredibly, involved in. And you can directly correlate this to the fact that he was one of the Rough Riders that did have to do with Latin America. But there's other elements to this as well. So you can look at the Panama Canal, for example. How does the Panama Canal fit into the Roosevelt Corollary, and why was it important to have the Roosevelt Corollary in order for the United States to be able to finish the Panama Canal? And why was the Panama Canal important? So if your document that you were reading was about the Roosevelt Corollary, or if it was the Roosevelt Corollary, those are the types of things that you need to be putting in there. So as we move forward and I start recording these lectures myself, I will put a PowerPoint up. It'll be one of the first things that goes up on the module. At the beginning of the PowerPoint, it's going to have key terms. Those are more things that you can look at to incorporate into this section. So you need to tell me who Roosevelt was. You need to tell me what imperialism is. You need to explain how all these pieces fit together and how that document fits into the time period. So be very careful. And again, make sure you're going back to look at my comments that I'm giving you. And if I'm putting on there that you're being too vague, basically that means you're not telling me enough information. You are giving me a very vague answer that you think is a safe answer, and you're not diving out there to say, okay, here's what this is. Sometimes when you're looking at these documents, the best thing you can do is say, okay, what's not here? What are we not talking about in this document? So just give me a shout. If you've got questions, guys, I always have my cell phone on me. Call me. I do work 2 jobs. My passion is teaching college. I love it, but unfortunately it is not enough to make a living on its own. So like many adjuncts, I do have a second job. But I keep my email open all day at work. I have my cell phone on me. I can take calls anytime except for whenever I'm teaching on campus. I do teach 2 classes on campus. Those are Monday, Wednesday, Friday from usually from about noon until 2:30. I'm unavailable. But any other time I am available. Call me. Sometimes the best thing you can do is have a personal conversation with somebody. And online learning is interesting. I did my second master's degree online, and it can get a little hard when you're sending emails. So please, my cell phone number is on the syllabus. Give me a shout if you've got questions. So anyways, hope this helps. Hopes it helps kind of pull your grades up on these document analysis worksheets, because those points do add up through the semester. So I will look forward to spending the rest of the semester with you guys. Keep in mind, we do have this week to go, and then you have a week off for spring break. And then we'll come back and hit it pretty hard and heavy again as soon as we return, because we'll be moving pretty quick through the rest of the material. All right, that's all for now.